on the table. Nice into 15. Oh, and very late.
30 seconds. Clear the track for the 400. 10 minutes right here. Go with that, go with that. The start order for the women's Monobob run 2 is Lediglich in UI by Nicole Mary Taylor, Lovely Bob, Allen, Love, Lawford, Bob, Atira, Arbiter, Humphreys, Bahn der Welt, and Walker.
Welcome back to the 1994 Winter Olympic venue in Lillehammer in Norway. Also the position or the place where they held the 2016 Youth Olympic Games. And our Youth Olympic Champion 2016 is in the field for today's women's monobob race. Laura Nolte, maybe not going to be a medal contender here today, but we will wait and see what happens. Welcome back everybody to the second and deciding heat of the monobob race. In the top three, Switzerland's Melly Hasler. She had a good run, 5th fastest start, and a really smooth run down the track, building speed all the way to come in 0.05 of a second ahead of Laura Nolte and to put herself into medal contention. 3rd after the first of the 2 runs. Just 600s quicker than her, the new start record holder, beating her previous start record, Germany's Lisa Buchwitz, a serial winner in women's monobob. She has been a medalist here. She's had 2 bronze medals, has yet to take a gold. She lies in the silver medal position, and she's 1400s behind our 2-time winner in 3 starts on this track, Australia's Brianna Walker. Brie has not gone away from this track without a medal to date. A silver in 2014's race and 2 golds, one tied with Keisha Love in last season's races, which were at the end of January and the first weekend of February this year. So Brie Walker leads from Lisa Buchwitz, Melly Hasler. Don't count out Laura Nolte. What about Katie Bile and what about Kaylee Humphreys maybe as an outside bet? Maya Voigt only 4/10 away. Melissa Lottholz, Keisha Love very close to her. And then Deborah Annan and Margot Bock. Everybody very, very tightly packed up. Patricia Tanurova for the Czech Republic does not get to go a second time. The fastest 20 go through, and they're all chasing this woman, Bree Walker. Keisha Love tied with Bree. She's got 2 golds here as well. And Alana Myers-Taylor, can she get in amongst the medals? Well, she's a little further back, down in 14th position. So she'll be aiming to try and improve on that and get into the top 10. Margot Bock, similarly, in 12th place, a little closer to the top 10, just 500s away. Christian Buchnowski, Bush in her first ever drive on this track, 16th after the first heat. So athletes warming up in the tent. There's also the sled shed, but it gives them somewhere that's not frozen solid to do their warming up exercises. So Linda Wojciechowski, who was 20th in the first heat, will be first off. We go last to fast, so 20 down to 1. The total time of both runs added together gives us our race result. So no mistakes in the second heat. If you're well placed, you have got to respond to that internal pressure and go even better if possible, because you know that everybody behind you will be trying to redouble their efforts. Race 3 of the IBSF Monobob World Cup in Lillehammer in Norway. Second and deciding heat of this third race of the season. Poland's Linda Wojciechowski gets us off to the start of the second heat. Martin Haven watching the action trackside with you here on the 94 Olympic track. Sleds are identical for all the athletes, built by a company in Bavaria. You choose your own runners, and everybody trying to find the best at the start. 5.70, a little quicker than 5.72 in the first heat. I wonder if the mild conditions today are going to mean that the start is running a little faster, a little less frosty. It's just barely 0 overnight. We had snow this morning about 5-6 a.m. Nice smooth second run from Linda. Skirting around corners 4, 5 and into 6 and 7. And then through the labyrinth down to corner 12. And out of 13, little tap, came relatively straight down the run into 14. Speed of 75.9 miles an hour at the bottom. 54.42. So her first heat, 54.66. That's a quarter of a second improvement, 2400s faster. So she's got a feel for the ice. You don't get a practice run on race day. So race ice is always different from training days. Weather is usually different from training days as well. And so your first heat, you're finding out what the track is doing while you're also trying to extract every ounce of performance from yourself and the sled. Long run down past the camera while the start grooves are still there. This is exit 13. Slight flop and a little tap. Hard to avoid that tap. If you're lucky, it comes square. So, Linda Wojciechowski of Poland is our race leader. Next up is Germany's Kim Kalicki. Kalicki 20th at the start with a 5.79. Began the season struggling with pneumonia. And of course, not only does that make you feel wretched at the time, but it means that no energy for training in the build up to the season. 5.80. Just a whisker behind her first start. Not a massive fan of the monobob sleds. But she does drive a sled well. She's really got her head around these things. A bit of a bump on and off corner 7. Not the tidiest run through the labyrinth either, down to 10. Better speed than Wojciechowski. She was a 10th back, 900s back. This could be close. Very similar run, 13 to 14. Better speed. How close will she be? Does she hold her head up? She does not. 54.47. So 1800s better than her first heat. But she slips a spot behind Poland's Linda Wojciechowski. So it's not been the strongest start to the season. 10th, 17th, and now what looks like it'll be a 20th place finish for Kim Kilicki. When you're feeling that rough, not only is it hard to compete, hard to push the sled, particularly when you've got a lung infection like pneumonia, but also the chance of training and keeping your body in peak fitness very, very substantially reduced. So you have to feel enormously for Kilicki. To have such a major nasty infection at the beginning of the season is one thing. At the beginning of the Olympic season, that's really tough. Next up, China's Ying Qing, 900s ahead of our current race leader, Linda Wyszewski of Poland. So again, this one could go either way. Amos Driskens on the right-hand side, brought in by the Chinese team last year as their start, strength and conditioning coach. Ying started 13th fastest with a 5:71, so just 100 quicker than Wyszewski at the start. 5:77, drops her start, so she had a 900s advantage. She started 700 slower than the Polish slider and is already in the red. Not bad in these quiet corners early on. Out to corner 6 again, see her sitting right back. She leans back as well. A little back rest that the driver braces himself against, more of a butt rest. It's a tiny little crescent. Basically, you just get your backside onto and up against. Oh, little skiddy. She's going to drop behind Kim Kilicki as well. There's only 400s first to second. Ying is going to drop a couple of places. She does, a 10th back, 54.61. So Linda Wyszewski remains in the leader's box. She's picked off a couple. Alice Minnins there telling her the push start time, 4:77. Not as quick as her previous, dropped almost a 10th. Bobsleigh maths tells you a 10th at the top is worth 3/10 at the bottom. So 700s, 2100s, and she ended up a 10th back from Linda Wyszewski, having been 900s up. So the maths work pretty well there. It's a short track, it's hard to outdrive your start. Not impossible, but hard. Now, Ying's teammate Wai Ming Ming, just 300s quicker than her, started 200s faster at 5.69. So she should have been 600s faster at the bottom, wasn't. So Ying actually had a very slightly better first drive than Wai. In and down, at a 5.69, so she matches her first start. That gives her an 800ths of a second advantage over her teammate. Actually extends her advantage over Wyszewski as well to 1300s, but that's come down already. 1, 2 and 3 were not as tidy maybe as they needed to be. 4th best speed, she's the 4th sled. That means she is slower than anybody else. The gap's down to 500s. She'll be in the red at the next clock. And she is still the slowest sled. Meandering down the stretch into 14. Dropping behind Kilicki. Does she stay in front of teammate Ying? She does not. 54.68. Well, that's 1400 slower than her first heat. So Linda Wyszewski climbs another rung up the ladder. 20th in the first heat. She'll be no worse than 17th. And Wai Ming Ming drops from what was 17th in the first heat to the tail of the field. Now you can see that the track is glistening. And we've had another spritz, a spray of water between the runs to polish it all up. A little bit like sending down the Zamboni on an ice hockey rink. Cleans up the ice. fills in some of the little imperfections. Next up, Kristen Buchnowski for Canada. Her advantage, again, very slightly bigger over Linda Wyszewski, 1400ths of a second. Wyszewski's advantage over Buj is that she's driven the track before this week. And Buj has not. 5:63, another strong start from the Canadian. 5th fastest in the first heat. 5:63 will be the 3rd fastest start of the competition at the moment. So 2400ths up over Wyszewski. Starting the Polish rival by 700ths. 3rd best speed. Holding on to a 2/10 and change advantage. Late flop off 10, seen a lot of that, little bump going on to 12. Now she needs to get 13, a little tidier than the last time down. She does. This is good from Buchnowski. Eradicating some of the errors, but it's going to be very close at the line, just in front. 54.47, actually not quite as quick down as her Polish rival. So surviving on her first heat advantage. But that means her first time out on this track, she's guaranteed at least a 16th place finish. And in her debut season, she's had a 16th in Cortina and a 10th in Innsbruck. And look at that, just slight little flop off 10. And that's 11-12, got knocked away. Good view of corner 15. Neve hockey, I expect we will see in harness tomorrow for the women's race. Helping out with the sleds at the bottom. Adele Nicol next up. Sean Olsen at the back of the sled. Graham Richardson at the front. Doing his best to spread his cold around. Adele starting 17th fastest. She should be a top 6 starter, but really badly damaged her knee pre-season to the extent where she could barely walk at all. 5:72, finds a little bit more at the start. Nice quiet top section of the track. She's behind Buchnowski from the start. Gaps out to 800ths of a second. Needs to stop losing time now. Nice transition, good speed. Gaps back down to 600ths. She's got half the track left to try and make a big difference here. Out of corner 10, little late flop. Everybody does it. Gaps down to 500. Still better speed than the Canadian. Nice exit out of 13. Well controlled. She's in the green. Adele Nicol, top speed, 124. That's 77.1 miles an hour. And across the line, ducks ahead for 54.28. She takes the lead. Do you think she hated it? I don't think she did. 2100s faster. You think they're not passionate? You think they're going through the motions? Not a bit of it. Every iota of performance squeezed out, every moment of the weekend is focused on entirely every part of the performance. That was a good second run from Adele Nicol. Unlocking the secrets here of this track. Adele with a 25th and a 19th so far this season. Her best result here, a 9th place finish. It's going to be something weird going on if she gets to there. Well, next up is Alana Myers-Taylor. Mika and Noah, her 2 kids, are here on tour. 5:72 start, 14th at the start, 14th at the bottom. In and down. Let's see what she's got. A 68, 400's better. That's a good improvement from Alana Myers-Taylor. And that gives her a slender advantage, just 900s ahead of Adele Nicol. Lana's advantage also, of course, is in the number of miles that she slid ice over her long career. Same as Kaylee Humphries, two most experienced drivers in the field. And as conditions change, they are more likely to adapt well to them. Still just 600s up. This is going to be very tight at the line. Not as good speed as the British sled. Adele Nicol had top speed all the way down. 500s in it. Second best. This is going to be very close. At the line by a couple of hundreds, by 1/100th of a second. 54.32 for Alana Myers-Taylor. So she gets the single digit from Tuffy Latour in first place. That's where you want to be. You don't want to slip back in the second heat. Well, she didn't have quite the speed down the track of Adele Nicol in the second heat, but she did in the first. She improved her start as well. She's working on that flying jump. When you land, you add that extra bit of momentum into the sled to help break that early inertia. So Alana Myers-Taylor into the leader's box. And next, the first of our three Swiss sleds. And the newest of our three drivers, Inola Blatti, made her debut in Cortina. So this is World Cup number 3 for the youngster. 27-year-old Europe Cup champion in women's monobob. Vice champion in the two-seat sleds. 571. Had 600s in hand over Alana, loses 300s at the start. Little skid there from 3 to 4 as well. Next to the 3, that's going to cost her a bit more. Gap stays at 300s, but that will have lost her speed. It does. Only the 5th best speed sneaks through 6 to 7. Out of 12. Into corner 13. Little tap. Nice square run. Just 400ths of a second in it. About level with Alana Myers-Taylor on pace. She's not going to catch her. She doesn't. 54.45. And because Alana and Adele Nicol are just 100th apart, Inola Blatti slips 2 places. So not a bad looking run. Couple of little errors, just enough to take it away. This is a short track. The gaps are very small. Exactly what you expect to see in a short track race. Out of 13, little tap. But again, sled just kept its nose on the wall, bumping along all the way down to 14. For France, Margot Bock, 12th position after the first of our 2 heats. 13th, 17th, and a best of 11th place here. She was 8th in Cortina to start the season. So she's 100th away from equaling her best result on this track. That's how far she was behind Deborah Annan, who is in 11th. However, she's only a 10th up on Alana Myers-Taylor. Alana started 5.68. Margot started 5.75 in the first heat. In and down with a 5.73, so she finds a couple of hundreds as well. So losing 500ths of her lead to Alana after the start. And that extra little bit of speed. And those taps early on, she did that in the first heat as well. That's taking speed out of the sled that you can ill afford at the low speeds at the top of the track. Clean looking labyrinth, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4 that is costing her the time. 100th behind, second best speed. Ooh, quite a hit on the wall out of 13. Just in front, pretty close to Alana Myers-Taylor. Is this going to be our first tie? It is not. She just ducks in front. So Bruno Mijon there on the right-hand side, the French coach. Happy with that one. So Margot holds the lead over Laura Myers Taylor and Adele Nicol. 3 sleds covered by 0.03 of a second. Early on, she's making these little touches and skids. You can't afford to do that. It takes a greater percentage of your speed out of the sled than a similar touch when you're going much quicker. Little late exit and a flop again, out of 10. Everybody does it. Well, there she is. She was watching on the monitors to see the replays. She'll know what the errors were. So edging into our top 10, or close to our top 10, Deborah Annan, 1/100th of a second faster than Margot Bob. Now, her start was exactly the same, 5:75 for both athletes in the first heat. So she needs a 5:73 as well. .578, drops 500ths to Margot Bock. So that 100th advantage has gone. Now she's immediately turned that around and stopped losing time, but now she needs to gain back to 200s back. Little tap in the labyrinth. Into the green, 100th up. That's her first heat advantage, but look, better speed than anybody so far from Deborah Annan. Substantial clump on the wall out of 13. 300s up. Speed's not quite as good as Bock. This could be very close again, and it's 400ths the separation. So Margot gives a little ripple of applause to Deborah Annan as the Swiss driver takes the lead. 400ths of a second. Now Deborah was only 400ths away from the top 10 in the first heat. 54.37 run, 400ths of a second slower than her first. So again, late off 13, hit the wall pretty firmly. She's a tall athlete. You can see her sitting nicely back in the sled. Some drivers have their knuckles together when they're driving. Some, and you saw Deborah Annan there, and Adele Nicol is another, have their hands sort of knee width apart. But it is Deborah Annan who leads the field. So 10 down and 10 to go here. And you can place the steering rings wherever you like, hanging off the cowl. And it's entirely, I suppose, what you learn, or how you learn, how the sled is set up. The same way that Kaylee Humphries always drives in goggles, because that's what Pierre Luders taught her to do when he was coaching her. Deborah with a widespread grip on the D-rings. There's a great view of the Lillehammer track, just outside of a small hamlet called Hunderfossen. It's about 8 kilometres, 7 kilometres away from the town of Lillehammer itself. Lillehammer will be the venue for the opening and medal ceremonies of the World Championships 2027, which will be held here. Oh, am I on? Yes, you are. Busy suiting up. It's not the coldest of the day, I have to say. I imagine it will be considerably chillier when we're back here at the end of February next year for the World Championships. I have to say, looking forward to that enormously. It's a really good track for racing on. The athletes have been unanimous in their praise of the ice conditions. The ice has been superb. It's been record fast, even though it hasn't been cold for the training week. And the welcome is always absolutely exemplary. Now, don't wander out of shot when you're on camera, chatting away to your break women. There on the slope opposite, Your typical alpine-looking chalets. A very distinct shape to the architecture here. And a very warm welcome for everybody in this home from home. 10 down, 10 to go, race 3 of the IBSF Women's Monobob World Cup in Lillehammer in Norway. Martin Haven on the mic, Keisha Love on the block. 10th after the first heat, 500s in hand over our current race leader, Deborah Annan. Keisha, another strong starting driver, 5.64, 5.57 in the first heat. So dropping 700ths of a second. She won't be happy with herself for that. Little skid. 2 to 3 as well. 1 to 2. Seen a couple of those. Only the 11th best speed. Keisha, 2 World Cup races on this track, 2 gold medals. The third is not the charm. A 10th up from Deborah Annan. Ooh, and very loopy through 13. 400s up. She's not got anything like the speed she needs. Looping all over through 15 as well. And she is behind at the line and drops 4 spots. That was not just the start. That was the drive as well. That's a very un-Keisha Love drive. And she drops 100th behind Adele Nickel to 5th place with 9 to go. Some days you win and some days the track wins, and today is one of the latter for Keisha Love. There aren't many of those days. She was untidy at the top, and look here again, coming in a little later and lower, and that big first pressure. And again, big second pressure there, dropping off. Looks like that pretty much all the way down. The timing was just not as spot on as it usually is. And here in 13, same thing. Big first pressure. Having to wrestle it away. 9th after the first heat, Melissa Lottholtz. 500ths of a second, her advantage. We're in a really tight little group. I mean, the whole top 20, there was barely fresh air between any of the sleds. Let's see what Lottholtz has got at the start. 5.68, a 66 first start. So extends her advantage over Deborah Annan, who started 5.78 by a 10th, out to 1500ths, out to 2 tenths. So Lottholtz, how far away was she from the medals? 1700ths of a second away. That's a big stretch on this short track. In Samaritz, maybe. In Lillehammer, probably not. 2400ths up, best speed. Quicker than Deborah Annan. A little wobble out of 13. 4th best speed, should have enough. Does have enough, 2 tenths, 54.22. Finally, somebody goes quicker down than Adele Nickel. Adele, a 54.28 run. Lottholtz, a 54.22. And she actually did 54.28 in her first heat. Again, little late flop. That's that 10-11 crossover. Away from 12 to 13, out of 13. Late drop. Again, more energy coming out of the sled. Stop having fun. Brake women keeping themselves thoroughly entertained. So 8 to go. Melissa Lottholtz leads, and this is Denmark's Maier Voigt. And Maier, the Youth Olympic Champion in Women's Monobob 2024, the games in Pyeongchang. Won both the qualifying events here. She's had 3 Europe Cup races on this track as well. So she does know this place well. 4 tenths off the lead, 2 tenths off the medals. And her advantage over current leader Melissa Lottholtz is slender 2 hundredths of a second. 5:69, halves that lead by starting 100 slower than Lotte. She started 200s faster than Melissa in the first heat. Maier is not only a good pushing driver, she's a good driving driver as well. Already early in her career, she's tasted Youth Olympic gold. She has come in, this is her third World Cup race. She has come in from day one as a top 10, make that top 6 contender. Second at the moment behind Lotte. Oh! Drags down the wall, the sled. It's taking speed away. She's not going to catch the Canadian at the line and slips behind Deborah Annan as well. So Maier Voigt, 9th in Cortina, 6th in Innsbruck last week, and she will be no worse than 10th place here. So 3 top 10 starts, 3 top 10 finishes at the start of her World Cup career. Very impressive. Still just 18. So again, bumped out of the sled there. Tall, strong, very fast at the start. She's a top 5 starter already. Imagine what she's going to be like with a decade of training and ice experience. Denmark have got a real talent on their hands. And Canada have the lead with 7 to go. So we will have a Canadian leader after this sled, because in the leader's box is Melissa Lotte. 500s faster in the first heat, her teammate Cynthia Appiah. Slipped a little, I think, in the load. 5:60, matches her speed in the first start. Keep it neat and tidy early on. 3-4 transition can be tricky. 4 to 5. Trying to take a tap to avoid the skid. And then that 6-7. On to 7, nice and early. Down to corner 10. Whipping through into 11. And then the right-hander at 12. Key to speed at the bottom, 12 and 13. That's a nice exit, pretty much straight. 100th in it. Speed's not there. Where's it gone? Appiah drops a spot, 400s behind her teammate. So we have a Canadian 1-2 with 6 to go. Will either of them end up in the top half dozen? Cynthia, the silver medalist in February here. Last race before the World Championships. Not quite going to match that. Yeah, hand just slipped on the cowl there. Ouch. That would have been an uncomfortable landing. Must have felt a little bit uncomfortable all the way down. Not the second run she needed, Cynthia. Slips behind Melissa Lotte. Deborah Annan in 3rd. 6 to go. So in 6th place, Kaylee Humphries. Started 5:74, 16th fastest start, and drove her way into the top 6. She may not have the power at the start after giving birth to her baby a year or so ago, 18 months, but she can still drive a sled, and that strength will come back as the season continues towards the games. The defending Monobob Olympic champion, 5:72, so she starts another fraction quicker, adds to her advantage, 400s over Cynthia Appiah. Since starting 5:60 over Melissa Lotte, rather. Melissa starting 5:68. So 400s up. Only the 7th best speed though for Kaylee. That's reflecting a 10th fastest start. And she knows with that start deficit, she has to drive at her very best, but it is Olympic season. What else would you be doing? out of 13, drops into the red. Fourth best speed, not quite as quick as Lotholtz. And across the line, she's 1/100th behind. (54.31) slide. Melissa came down 54.22. So Lotholtz starting 5.68, just 400s faster. Kaylee may yet be in the top half dozen. There's no guarantee the next couple of sleds will hold their positions, and they are all really tightly packed together. Bounced out of a seat there. And again, just one awkward transition on this track when everybody is so close together is all it takes. She's thinking through it now. Melissa Lotholtz leads with 5 to go. So Lotholtz 14th and 7th on this track, already on a PB as she got to 7th, and on a PB as she is now in the top 6. She leads with 5 to go. In 5th place, Austria's Kathi Beil. 9th best start for Kathi, and 5th place finish. Now, if she can hold this, it will be a personal best for her as well. She's never finished higher than 6th here. 5.66 getaway. Started 5.65 in the first heat. And she's actually outstarting Melissa Lotholtz. That's really impressive from the Austrian slider. And she's driving superbly at the moment. 1900s up. Nice control from Kathi Beil. Not too loose, not too much overdriving. Hard hit on the wall out of 13, 1800s up. It should still be a 10th in the bank. Is it enough to reach for a medal? She keeps 1800s, 54.18, fastest run down in the second heat. 54.14 in the first heat. She guarantees herself a best ever Lillehammer result. She's disappointed perhaps with 13, but that was a good pair of race runs from Kathi Beil. Again, the late pressure here in 10. Everybody flops off. And in 13, just a fraction later than ideal. You see the sled aviating, hits the wall, then there's a skid. So Melissa Lotholtz on a personal best, Kathi Beil on a personal best. Laura Nolte not on a personal best. That is bronze here. Oh, and Youth Olympic gold, obviously, back in 2016. 5th fastest start, 5.64. 4th fastest run. She's only 500s out of the medals. This is very doable. 5.65, another strong start. 100 slower than her first, so was Kathi Beil. So the gap between them remains steady. Ooh, little skid as well. 3 down to 4. Nicely on to 7. Through 9 and down to corner 10. She's still in the red, not by much. 9th best speed. Nice run from 13 down to 14. Still the speed isn't great. Has she got enough to catch Kathi Beil? She does not. Kathi Beil, best result on this track, a 6th place finish. That's her best World Cup result. She is now the leader with 3 to go. So Laura Nolte slips 400s back into 2nd place. It will be a top 5 finish, but it probably won't be a medal for Nolte. She'll be looking forward to tomorrow's race here. She's got an enviable record in the women's bob. Kim Kalicki won the first race here. Laura Nolte won both of them last year. All right, medals are up for grabs. Melly Hasler, 800s in front of Kati Bile after the first of the two heats. And for the Swiss driver, it would be a first medal of the season. She was the European Championship silver medalist here in February. She's not had a World Cup medal on this track before. She lies in third, 2/10 off the lead, but it's the gap to Bile that's going to be the decider. 5:65, she adds 100 to that margin. Needs to be tidy, takes that little tap down to corner 4, little tap out of 4 down to 5. Preferable to a skid, but the gap's down to just 200ths of a second. 400s back. She had great speed in the first heat. It's deserted her in the second. Lines are decent. But Kati Bile will be holding her breath in the leader's box. Nice clean exit out of 13. Is that enough to turn the red into green, to turn that frown upside down? I'm not sure it is. It's not close enough at the line. Kati Bile's got her first World Cup medal. Whoopsie. That was classic Kati Bile. Oh, Melly Hasler slips behind Laura Nolte, third place with 2 to go. So it'll be a top 5 finish for Hasler. She's had a 9th and 2 4th place finishes. This may not be quite as tantalizingly close to the podium as that. Third with 2 to go. I fear there's no medal today for Mel Hasler. But Kati Bile is in the medals for the first time in a monobob career. 2 to go. Bile leads. Now the gaps get bigger. 1400s off the lead, 1400s ahead of Kati Bile. Lisa Buchwitz. 2 bronze medals on this track. Can she convert to gold? It's going to have to be a flawless run. 5:54, yet another start record. Out of 2 to 3, 3 to 4 is clean. Comes through to 5 without a tap or a skid. 2800s up. It's not about Bile. It's about trying to grab the gold. But where is the speed? Maybe we're just not getting accurate readings. 1800s up, a 10th up. No, the speed is going away. Is the track slowing dramatically for some reason? Oh, meandering down from 13 to 14, 500s back. Laura Nolte's in the medals at this rate. Kati Bile will take a silver, and she's 4th. And Melly Hasler might get a medal. Kati Bile, her first medal is going to be at least a silver. And Buchwitz is out of the medals. A start record, but the run was nearly half a second slower. 4800s slower than her first heat. Did their runner choice work best with the conditions for the first heat and not well with the conditions for the second? But, you know, that was the big mistake in the run. But she was already well behind the 8 ball by that stage. Well, she likes the track still. There's Pierre Luders at the front. He's enjoying coaching Brianna Walker so much. No politics, no dramas. They just work and get it done. And she does exactly what he suggests every time. Doesn't question, doesn't argue. Just Okay, let's give it a go. As a result, she's getting stronger and stronger in the monobob. Third fastest start in the first heat, 5.60. This is for her third win on the track, 5.62. So her advantage over Kati Bile is a third of a second, 32 hundredths. That's a lot to lose on the way down. She's not adding to it. Speed is good though, still 32 hundredths up. Late flop, but nothing to worry about. 33 hundredths up. Brianna Walker, second best speed. It's not the track. Whatever was going on with Nolte and Bookvitz, it was not the track. 37 hundredths up, building her advantage. Best speed of all. Brianna Walker heading to World Cup win number 3 in the monobob here in Lillehammer, and she takes the gold. Kati Bile has her first monobob medal with the silver, and Laura Nolte, the youth Olympic champion here 9 years ago, takes the bronze. She tied with Keisha Love in race 1 in February. She won race 2 in February. She wins in December.
Sorry. Congrats, thank you. Congrats. This one's for you, Simon. Thank you for everything. Mwah.
Well, Brianna Walker, she came in here, as she does so often, as one of the likely contenders, and particularly on this track. This is her best track, I mean, absolutely now, in terms of results. 3 gold medals out of her career, 4 are in Lillehammer. Hello, World Championships 27. Well, there was the reaction with her brakewoman, Chiara Rodingius. They'll be in action tomorrow morning. And boy, what a boost to the confidence a day like today is for Brianna Walker. Blew them all away in Heat 1 and Heat 2. And Kati Bile, 54.18. That was the second fastest heat of the competition. She takes the silver, Laura Nolte the bronze. Melly Hasner, Lisa Buchwitz and Melissa Lottholz are on the wider podium ahead of Kaylee Humphries, Cynthia Anthea, Deborah Annan and Maya Voigt, a third top 10 to start her career. Del Nickel up to 13th place. No wonder she was so excited with that run. She had the 4th fastest run of the second heat. But Kati Bile, well, she's going to be joining me in the booth for tomorrow's 4-man race in the afternoon. So hopefully she might have calmed down a little by then. Well, that's your podium finish. And Laura Nolte, the points leader, as Bree Walker closes on her again. Lisa Buchwitz in 3rd place, overhauling Keisha Love, ahead of Mel Lottholz and Mel Hasler. Kati Bile, her first World Cup mono medal is a silver. Fantastic stuff. What a day for her, and a big day for Brianna Walker as well, confirming herself as absolutely a medal favourite for the Mono World Championships next year, but she's not going to be counted out in Cortina either. Well, that's it for Monobob. 4-man race 1, because this is a double 4-man weekend, comes up this afternoon. So watch the big bangers. We'll be back at 1300 local, 12 GMT, 0700 Eastern, and that is in 1 hour and 9 minutes from now. So go and grab breakfast, lunch or dinner. We'll see you later.